Yo, what's good, everyone? I appreciate everyone for tuning in. I still got my headsets in. I appreciate everybody for tuning in this Thursday as we talk about some new things that's going on in the Thornton Township that are utterly and absolutely terrible. As always, I'm Marcus. I'm here to do attorney reactions to content, most of it that you all provide me as well. If you get some value out of this video, like, share, subscribe, comment. And if you want to be official co-counsel, definitely hit that join button. I'm gonna jump right into it. I started a little bit earlier than usual because your boy is gonna get to bed early today. But government's closing down. Okay, apparently that's the theme of everything that's going around. We got the federal government may close down at midnight tomorrow, and the government has closed down in the Thornton Township. So let's go ahead, check out a few videos where we can see the threat of the initial threat, the subsequent closure, why this closure was done, and more and most importantly, how stupid this closure is. Because I'ma just, hey, maybe it's just me, but generally, when a government closes, the person at the top of the seat is the person who gets is the individual who gets all of the blame. I think that's how most people feel. But let's go ahead jump into this first video and we're gonna get through everything real quick. And if we got time and if I'm up to it, we'll do a second video on why Tiffany Henyard's lawyer needs a mentor and how he may be one of the worst counselors of law in the histories of counselors of law. I don't know. The gang lady was kind of wild too, but we'll discuss it. Let's go ahead, jump into the video. Let's get it.
Henyard says a shutdown would mean ceasing assistance programs for seniors and after-school programs for children, and potentially laying off more than 100 township workers.
It's kind of hurtful to even mention the potential of layoffs. I don't want that. I want our people to work.
She don't look like somebody who's really down about the potential of a shutdown just from this clip right here. This is just in my personal opinion. Y'all let me know what y'all think, but she doesn't give the demeanor of someone who really doesn't want this to happen. That's just my opinion.
The holiday season.
The threat of a shutdown comes as a Thornton Township meeting for the 5th time in recent weeks had to be canceled because of a lack of a quorum. The result of trustees Carmen Carlisle and Chris Gonzalez not showing up. Their aim is to block Supervisor Tiffany Henyard from appointing someone to a vacant trustee position who could provide tie-breaking votes.
The misspending of funds. We've been working hard to keep tabs on things like that. So if she gets this a third vote, it's going to go right back to all that other stuff that was going.
Uh-oh. What happened to my internet? What the hell? Let's run this back.
Go right back to all that other stuff that was going on previously.
With the board unable to conduct business, Henyard says the township can't renew its insurance, and that's forcing the shutdown.
We already spoke to the lawyers, and then we will start making preparations today. So tomorrow will be the first day. Probably one of our buildings will get shut down. The seniors, they utilize the transportation to go to dialysis, to the doctor, to the store, things of that nature.
The township has also had to cancel its annual holiday toy giveaway this weekend that helps hundreds of families. But Gonzalez says Henyard, who's under FBI scrutiny for her handling of township finances, and those in Dalton, where she's mayor, could renew the insurance without convening a meeting. And it's the insurers who've chosen not to renew the township.
It all comes down to the dysfunction of this administration.
All this comes in.
Hold on, let's run that back.
Insurers could renew the insurance without convening a meeting. And it's the insurers who've chosen not to renew the township.
It all comes down to the dysfunction of this administration.
All this comes as Henyard is suing Thornton Township Democrats for their caucus vote earlier this month that left her off the April ballot for township supervisor. Henyard wants a new caucus vote.
Watch breaking.
Okay, so real quick, let's just kind of talk about that a little bit. Now, that was prior to the shutdown. One of the videos we took a look at, I think last week, she talked about the insurance for the township had lapsed, which if it were true, or we don't know what's true, what she says or what's not. We just got to shoot at the hip here. But it is a big deal. It is a lot of exposure. But apparently, the renewal of the township insurance is a unilateral measure that can be done by the township supervisor absent a vote for everyone else. That's apparently the way that it has been. That's the way that it has been done for years prior. So, with that being said, what would be the reason that she wants to do a shutdown? And the biggest thing is one, she's going to get the blame for it. But two, one of her main points that I see she always asserts during these meetings is about the ability to is about the township programs, the ability to pay people rent, the ability to have transportation for seniors, how she loves her seniors so much. How the hell could you let your government shut down knowing that seniors, who is the one population that you apparently are targeting with your bingo and events and all of that stuff, and just leave them literally like out in the cold? Like that is insane and utterly stupid. Now let's go ahead and jump to this second video. Before we get through or get into those videos real quick, let me check out the comments. Shout out to everybody who's in the chat. I appreciate y'all. Round of applause to Paul for the first comment of the day, which I 100% agree with. Yeah, the way she looked when she said when she initially made that threat of potentially closing down the government, it didn't look like somebody who really didn't want to do it, in my opinion. What's going on, Lisa? Does the FBI have like a bat signal? I mean, I don't even know. I'll be honest. Like now, I didn't even take this into consideration in earlier videos, but the transition at federal agencies within the Department of Justice and the FBI, they're gonna circle back to this probably way later than usual. The same priorities of one party A aren't the same priorities of party B. Not saying that they still wouldn't pursue it because there's still an active investigation going on, but right now between the government shutdown, the change in leadership, I know people in those law enforcement agencies, they kind of got their head on a swivel. That was actually my initial guess. I was like, yo, hopefully we can get something before the holidays, but I don't know. That would be awesome, but I don't know if that's actually plausible now. Let's see. A town that has a monthly insurance bill. I know, weird, right? Yeah, she still had bingo. I actually just saw that before I even got into it. She had bingo for the seniors because I mean I don't know. I played bingo once though. That shit was fire. I played it like on vacation. Oh man, it was amazing. But she had bingo for the seniors who majority are the persons who attend these events, but don't give a damn about all the government services that they use. I don't know. It's ridiculous. It's an actual terrible tactic. I don't know. Y'all let me know because the federal government is looking at a shutdown, a furlough, and maybe it's just me, but I'd be like, man, I hope the federal government have a shutdown because I think the longest that they ever had was during Trump's first term. I think it was 28 days. And in the federal government, I don't know. I've never been furloughed at a state level. But in the federal government, when the government shut down, whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, you still get paid. Once everything resumes up, they pay you back pay. It's just kind of like a vacation. If you got a little bit of money to kind of tide things over, being the government shut down for a couple weeks, if you want to go on vacation and not use your leave, may not be the absolute worst thing if you can fiscally handle it. Y'all let me know in the comments. Does it work the same way in a municipality like this when the government shuts down? I've never been a part of a government shutdown at the state or local level, only the federal level, and those people normally get their ends back. That's why she's making it a sanctuary city. Nah, that new borders are he gonna put an end to the sanctuary city stuff. That dude, he really is trying to take his job serious. All right, let's jump into this second video. Let me go and cue it up.
Yeah.
No, that's definitely not the video we want. Hold on, let's see, where we going? Here you go.
Val and Terrell, good morning. Well, you can see the lights are off behind me. The doors are locked here, and there's a sign on the building right now that says it's closed. For how long? Neither residents nor employees know at this point.
I'm the only one, and I don't even work here, and I'm here.
Tom Olenichuk showed up first thing this morning to hand in important paperwork for an assistance program due Friday, but was met by this sign.
Okay, here I am, and they disappeared now. So now what? What do you do now?
At our busy season. And I come in and the staff's here. We can't get in the building.
The township assessor and her staff also came to work as usual, uninformed the building would be closed.
We got no notification.
That's crazy as hell.
No warning or nothing.
Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard warned of a government shutdown today after a fifth meeting had to be canceled yesterday because 2 board members failed to show up. Their aim, to block Henyard from appointing someone to a vacant trustee position who could provide tie-breaking votes.
Our job is to govern, to provide a way, provide services. And we're not doing that because they're stalling government, gridlocking it because they can't have their way. Come on, it's not high school.
Unable to conduct business, Henyard says the township can't renew its insurance. A shutdown, she says, means ceasing assistance programs for seniors and after-school programs for children, potentially laying off more than 100 township workers.
Our hesitation is that if there's a person in there that will just say yes to everything, I mean, it will set us back. You know,
Trustee Carmen Carlisle is one of the board members who's been absent from meetings. She says the board has not been part of insurance renewals in recent past and believes insurance could have been decided months ago.
It was used to get us in the building. We'll dangle the insurance over their heads so they can get here so we can get this appointment. But, you know, you can't play with these things. You have to do what's responsible.
Now, Henyard has not returned our calls this morning to confirm what services might be halted today and for how long. All of this comes as Henyard is also suing township Democrats for their caucus vote earlier this month, in which Henyard was left off the April ballot for supervisor. Watch.
All right, now, y'all let me know in the comments, how long do you think this closure can go on? Because I don't think that this is a terrible strategy because she's going to get the blame. That's how government shutdowns work. Anytime the government shut down, everybody looked directly at the executive and like, yo, bro, what are you doing? So it's a terrible strategy. It's political gamesmanship. I mean, it's a terrible move. I think it's a terrible strategy, but if the nature of the game, we got to be fair now. We got to be fair and objective, and we understand how terrible of a person she is. But if 2 trustees are using the strategy not to show up because they don't want her to force to be able to put another trustee in the seat, which is a smart strategy, the stall tactic. We talked about that before. Her trying to put a little bit of pressure to get the trustees to show up is another tactic. It's not going to work out well. And I don't think that she can keep the government shut down as long as they cannot show up. That's why I think it's going to be a losing battle for her. And even if her plan was successful, she would have like another 75. She would have a short amount of time left remaining to carry out whatever her terrible form of governmental management is, even though 75 days, 60 days, 30 days is probably enough for her to do a significant amount of damage. But it's really just a tactic to try to strong arm 2 trustees into actually showing up. And you're going to hear over the next few days more of the rhetoric that she's been saying. The reason the government is shut down is because they won't come and vote and handle the government business, so we can't be insured. And if we aren't insured, we can't have government services because the attorneys have said that it opens us up to too much of a risk. Yeah, she's I agree. But that's the thing though. Like, I mean, the after school programs is probably not as big of a concern right now during this time of year because most kids aren't going to be in school. So that's a great talking point. But let's logically, public schools are probably out. I know I got a house full of kids. There's kids here who ain't even mine. This is crazy. But but the after school program is less of a concern. The seniors, appointments, medical needs, other governmental services, that's the actual big fucking deal. But she operates, that's a good point, but she operates everything as if it's hers personally. And you actually see that a lot. I've worked for persons in the government and they are of the opinion, people who sit at the top of the government are of the opinion that the general counsel of a governmental organization is their actual personal attorney. So her view that she believes things that are actually hers isn't one that's uncommon. I've actually been in positions where I had to tell an individual like, hey, I don't represent you, the person who's sitting in this seat. I represent the organization as a whole. Not often, but it can happen. Sometimes the needs of the individual holding a seat versus the needs of the actual organization can come into conflict. Doesn't happen too often, but it can happen sometimes. It's a temper tantrum. She grabbed her toys and left the sandbox because the others didn't want to play their game. That's a great yeah, she tried to take her stuff and go home. That's actually a great point. I just don't think she can sustain this long. Like, y'all let me know if anybody in the comments is from the area and they've had a shutdown before. Do the employees get compensation for the time that the government was shut down? That's question number one. If that's how it is in the federal government, but I've never been a part of a furlough at a state or local level, so I don't know if it's the same thing. Um, it's definitely unsustainable though. Maybe a week or two. Like how long? Y'all put in the comments how long you think that she'll stick with this government shutdown? Because I don't believe that Carlisle and Gonzalez are going to show up. And if I were them, I wouldn't show up because I think that they could be absent far longer than she can keep the government shut down. She don't exactly shut down the township over insurance, but run the bingo. Run the bingo that's not even compliant with the law. That's the that's the most important part. How can you make a way for big bingo, but not a way for residents to get the services they need? Everybody should see through this. Like, I hope that everybody who's at Big Bingo and people gonna go to Big Bingo because she's giving away big prizes, probably on a government dime. But I just hope that everybody can see through her word salad that the closing of the township literally unilaterally falls on her shoulders. She knows she's not going to win her political seat again. She embezzles as much money and causes as much chaos and confusion as she can before she goes back to flipping good burgers. That's actually a good point. Sometimes that happens as well. Hey, if I'm not going to be here, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna mess up as much stuff as I can for the person who's in the seat behind me. So that does happen as well. Big bingo we trust. Big bingo must goes on. That's insane. Priorities are messed up. Uh, Interesting. Let me know if you got a link to that story. Shoot it to me. I'd like to take a look at that. They're working from home. Let's see. Yeah, her body language was that of a person who was more happy because she thinks that this is going to work. But I say 2 weeks. maybe a week. I would be shocked if it goes longer than a week. If this time next week comes, let's see, we got the holiday coming up, Christmas. This is Thursday. I'd be shocked if it's still closed down by Friday. If it's closed down by Friday, she's gonna lose the 2% of supporters that she actually has. So I just don't think it's gonna last longer than 7 to 10 days. I'd be shocked if it get to 10 days. But a small place like this with there's a lot of municipalities within Thornton Township who have very limited economic ability. Like they just don't have large business infrastructures. Dalton being one of those municipalities. So I just don't. I think it's not sustainable for longer than a week. Because the people going to the big bingo are definitely going to be. Because think about it, if you have there's a reason behind this. Like she's conniving, selfish, disingenuous, dishonest. But when you have a toy giveaway, you may have one voting age person who shows up with 3 kids. But when you have bingo, I guarantee you everybody who showed up at bingo is a person who's actually registered to vote or at least of voting age. I'm surprised that actually might be a requirement. Like, you can't get into big bingo unless you registered to vote. You got to show your voter registration card. That actually might be a requirement to get in. Is it free? That's a good question. We did a video on that, but if I'm not mistaken, from the videos I saw, I want to say that one, it was never expressly stated if there was a cost associated with it. But I'm going to assume that it's free. If it's not free, it has to be something very nominal, like, hey, $5 to come in and play big bingo for a chance to win 500, 700, $1,000 worth of prizes. The folks that attend that, yeah, that could be true. Let's see. I did hear that. I heard that actually in a news presentation. Um, that it was December 9th. And I heard that maybe like a week ago or something. So I've heard that as well. This is going to be interesting. The township, I would be shocked if it's closed more than 7 days. But it is all the flex is a political game to try to force 2 people to show up so that she can appoint the a trustee to serve in that vacant seat. And if she can appoint a trustee to serve in that vacant seat, she can have a tie-breaking vote so she can push through her budget or her agenda or whatever it is that she wants to do, which she could grift or potentially finesse in her last whatever 90 or 100 days that she'll be in this actual position. Okay, okay, nice. I suspect that the big bingo gifts are probably, I don't know. I'd be shocked if the big bingo gifts are bought with her own money. I just don't think that's the case. What's going on, pretty eyes? Appreciate you for tuning in. You know what? I'm glad you said that because we're gonna talk about that as well. We're gonna talk about that as well. I wasn't gonna talk about it because I'm a little under the weather. She uses township money, taxpayer money to buy gifts for the bingo. That's what I thought. It's just no way she using some of that shit on that credit card. All right, now real quick, let's go ahead and jump into the topic number 2. Not a video for this, is an article we're gonna read. I got sent this article today. I was gonna actually do a pre-recorded video on this. Let me pull up my email. Let me pull up my email so I can send the link. I want to pull it up. Cause shout out to y'all. Y'all always send me all the latest and stuff that's going on. Let's see. All right, we're gonna actually read this article. There's probably a video out there, but I'm actually go through and read this article. All right, so let's talk about what does it take to because this is this segment is directed at attorney Max Solomon, who is running for mayor of Hazleton, if I'm not mistaken. So let's talk about attorney Max Solomon. All right. I was going to do a thumbnail for a video, but I just probably edit this one. But we have to talk about Tiffany Henyard's attorney, Max Solomon. What does it take to generally be a good or competent attorney, and why he seems to me, in my opinion, and I mean, we graduated law school around the same time, so I'm just confused why he continued to make bad legal mistakes. These aren't mistakes that somebody who's been in the game over a decade, I think he graduated in 2012, should be making. Okay, so all right, first of all, background, just so everybody's up to speed. We did a video. We talked about why we actually looked at the bars, uh, the bar association's order on their decision to suspend attorney Max Solomon. Long story short, for those who haven't saw that video, when he originally graduated law school in 2012 after passing the bar, he had a job at a local school system. It may have been a community college or something to that effect. He took on some legal work for his supervisor as a favor. A part of that condition was, yo, you don't even got to pay me. I'll handle it. And he did absolutely nothing. He didn't file the appropriate paperwork. He didn't inform his clients of what was going on in court. He misappropriated, I think it was $12,400. He had no clue of who he actually represented as a client. He was taking money from his clients, who was his supervisor. It was a property matter, and the property at issue was subject to litigation because it may have been owned by attorney Solomon's client, or it could have been owned by another individual. So while this litigation was going on, she had a tenant in the house. The tenant was paying the rent. This was the one thing he did right. He set up an account so that the rents that the tenant paid would go into this account. And once the court make a determination on who the owner of the property was, that money would get dispersed to the owner. But of course, he took money out of there. He actually charged the tenant, not his client. He told his client he would do it for free. He actually charged the tenant for legal services when he wasn't doing shit for the client. He had no agreement, no paperwork to establish any type of attorney-client relationship. So essentially, the bar association was like, bro, you didn't do shit. Now, this was in 2012, 2013, 2014, I think up to 2017, this process was going on. Well, essentially what happened is it didn't get into the bar's review until now. And if you actually go back and watch that video, I'll put the link in the comments. I'll pin it in the comment of this video. He was even disingenuous now about his conduct back then. We just were able to read that opinion and poke so many holes in his story. But the court decided, you know what? We're going to issue this suspension. If you can engage in these particular activities, we'll remove your suspension. But they put a lot of conditions on him. That was just the background. Okay. So he started off on the wrong foot. The court was like, well, the bar who reviewed this essentially said he didn't have a mentor. He didn't know what he was doing. Even though his excuses for why this shit happened is some BS, we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Me personally, I told y'all I would have snatched his license. Once you play with somebody, money is the rap for me. That's how most bar associations work. So I'm actually shocked that they gave him an opportunity to keep his license. So he started out on rocky ground. Now, fast forward. We were doing the last live stream. a few of you all left in the comments, and I was like, is this true? Let me look in open source to see if this is accurate. Essentially, he was informed by the court that he actually needed another attorney present during the course of all of the litigation. So now, if this is accurate, there are very few instances where the court requires an attorney or an individual before the court who's an attorney to have another counsel present. Okay. One is, I've done this before and it was annoying. If you are still a law student, third year practice rule. So you got an intern who's in their last year of law school. They want to litigate cases in front of the court. Under the third year practice rule, it's called different things in different states, but under the third year practice rule, that individual could actually litigate cases, go before the court, as long as they're accompanied by a licensed attorney, which is me. It's cool to do for them. It's a burden for me because now I got to be here in the courtroom when I could be out doing something else. That's example number one, where an individual before the court would need an attorney present. Okay, even though he may perform work that of an intern, he's not an intern. This dude graduated back in 2012. Okay, so he's not an intern. The second scenario is, it's called pro hoc vice, and some of you may know this term, but it's for this matter only, for limited purpose. So an example of when an attorney would request to practice before the court pro hoc vice is in a very limited situation. Most times that happens, and attorneys like to use Latin to sound like they know what they talk about, inter alia and res ipsa loquitur. But anyway, pro hoc vice essentially means for this matter only, or for this limited matter only. So the second example of when an attorney would need co-counsel present to appear before the court is if they're appearing pro hoc vice. An example of that would be, let's say my brother got incarcerated in a neighboring state, or was charged with a crime in a neighboring state, right? If he's charged with a crime in a neighboring state, I'm not licensed in that state. I'm licensed in other states, but not that particular state. Well, I can go before the court and I can put a motion into the court and ask the court, hey, Your Honor, I'm requesting that the court allow me to represent my client on this matter pro hoc vice, just for this matter only. And the court can say no or say yes. Most times, if the court does say yes, they'll actually require that attorney to work with local counsel. So, and how it works on the attorney side of the game, you end up having to pay somebody. If I'm a attorney and I represent people in car accidents, and someone gets in a car accident in Virginia and I'm not licensed in Virginia, but they come to me, I can pass that case off to an attorney in Virginia and get a little bit of a kickback finder's fee, or I can actually ask the court to represent that person pro hoc vice, and that court will say, hey, you need to get an attorney barred in Virginia so you're aware of all of our rules and local rules and how we do things. And me, I would still have to kick that attorney some money, because that attorney, his name is going to be on the record. He's probably going to have to sign all of the pleadings and all the documentation with me. So those are the very limited situations where a person can practice before the court, but the court will require you to have another counsel. Neither one of those would apply in this situation. This is somebody who is barred in the state where he's currently engaged in the practice of law. So it would be odd and weird as hell for the court to ask somebody who's been practicing for fucking 15 years, like, yo, you need another attorney. If that is the case, okay, if that's the case and the court is like, yo, you can appear before the court, but you need to have another bar counselor with you, it's not because he's an intern. It's not because he's not barred there and he's asking to represent Tiffany Henyard on a limited basis pro hoc vice. It's because the court don't think he know what the fuck he doing. That's just what it could be. Nothing else. That has to be the only reason why I would say, hey, you make sure you here with somebody else, because you don't really know what the hell you doing. So it to me, it's given. I don't know. I, I don't know. I think that's kind of wild, but that's the only thing that makes sense. It's definitely not the first two. You have to appear before the court with another attorney is because the court has caused a pause with your ability to actually engage in the practice of law. Now, I want to go ahead and pull up this article so you all can see exactly what the hell I'm talking about. And this actually pissed me off. Shout out to everybody in the chat as well. I appreciate that. We're going to try to go through some of them. But I wanted to get through this. Let me go ahead and I remove that. Let's see. Stop sharing that screen. We want to share this article right here. All right. Remarkable women nominated in your community. That's funny. We talk about a non-remarkable, a woman who isn't remarkable, and that just happens to pop up. All right. Let me see. Oh, let me see if I could. Let's do no thanks. Let's see if we can close this out. All right, let's see if we can make this larger, just in case you all want to read with me. All right. So this is about the appointments that have fell through, and this is interesting. You good? You eat something? You ain't gonna do that pizza then? Yeah, I'm on a live. You want to come say hi? You ain't been on here since you was like in middle school. I don't know if nobody can hold on. They probably can't. My camera don't go all the way over there.
Yeah, I know it.
All they
does.
see is
I
your.
know it does.
All they
just
see is
TV.
your. Let me see. There you go. Look at it. I know this dude got dreads now. Look at my little future lawyer. He don't know it yet. My little future lawyer. This dude all grown, voice deeper than mine. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this. My bad. I got distracted. All right, let's jump into this. This is an article about the appointments that the judge said, yo, you can't appoint these people. And we'll talk about that, but let's focus on how terrible of an attorney Max Solomon appears to be. All right. Let me get a little bit swig of grapefruit juice. All right. A Cook County judge has violated Mayor. Excuse me, I can't even read. A Cook County judge has voided Mayor Tiffany Henyard's pick to serve as village administrator, attorney, and police chief of South Suburban Dalton. It's the latest power struggle to end up in court. Judge Thaddeus Wilson said Henyard lawyer chose not to file an answer to trustees' complaint that she was acting beyond her authority to appoint people for key village positions without their advice and consent. Worst lawyer ever. That dude is the worst attorney ever. My bad. I forgot to change the view back. But that paragraph, that sentence right there proves to me that he is the worst attorney. I don't even know. I don't know. This is ridiculous. Let me run it back. Judge Thaddeus Wilson said Henyard lawyer chose not to file an answer to trustees' complaints that she was acting beyond her authority to appoint people for key village positions without their advice or consent. Excuse me. Without their advice or consent. There are two reasons that a person or attorney would not file an answer to a complaint. But just so you're all aware, that's actually stage one of litigation. The very first thing I'm going to do if I want to sue you, I'm going to get your information. I'm going to go down to the courthouse. I'm going to file a complaint. I'm going to pay the sheriff $7, $20, $30, whatever it is. So that sheriff serves you with that complaint. Now you have notice of a lawsuit. And now most times you have 30 days, 45 days, depending on where you at, to file an answer to that complaint. My complaint lays out how you violated my rights of the law. Your answer lays out how my complaint is capped. Is this your complaint is frivolous or your complaint is facially invalid because of these particular reasons? It's literally the second step in the process of filing litigation. So why would an attorney not file an answer? Well, it's two reasons. Reason number one is you don't have an argument for shit. And if that's the case, it means your lawsuit was frivolous. And if I was the judge, I'd light your ass up. But if I don't file an answer to a complaint for my client, one option could be I don't have any legal arguments, which should never happen. I don't care what you sue somebody for. I'm going to have an argument. Now, is that argument going to be a strong argument? That argument may not be strong, but I'm going to argue something. I'm going to argue something. I'm going to find some case out there. I don't care if it's from 1875, back when politicians used to wear wigs and shit, but I would find something. So that shouldn't be an option, but you could not file an answer because you don't have any legal argument. Again, if that's the case, that means you suck as an attorney. So you should have an argument for absolutely everything. I've had cases where the facts were definitely not favorable for my client, but I came up with an argument. I've actually won cases where I came up with arguments and I said, shit, I'm going to pull this argument out of left field. And sometimes the left field argument can be substantiated with the facts. So that shouldn't ever happen. It should never be a situation where an attorney doesn't file an answer to a complaint because he couldn't think of anything. If that's the case, you shouldn't be an attorney, okay? The other alternative is, which could also be possible, the other alternative could be he took a track record and a page out of his early book when he was first practicing and he just fucking forgot and didn't do shit. Either one is terrible. Each option is evidence of you being an actual terrible attorney, okay? Now, which one is worse? It's worse to forget and just not file anything. No, it's actually worse. Honestly, which one is worse? It's actually worse not to be able to come up with any type of legal argument. That's actually worse. I would actually rather my attorney forget to do some shit, because if he forgot to do some shit, I could always get a remedy from the court for his incompetence. So we can rectify that. But not filing an answer because you can't come up with a legal argument is absolutely ridiculous. All right, let's go back through this article. All right. Just the randomest shit be popping up. All right, it goes on to say that Henyard's pick for village administrator Michael Smith and village attorney Angela Lockett can also not act in those capacities. She's not an empress, she's a mayor, said Bert Odelson, who represents trustees opposed to Henyard. She needs to follow the rules. Mayor Henyard proposed the agreement and all parties agreed to it. Henyard attorney Max Solomon said Mayor Henyard will continue to pursue and follow all her legal options and procedures as clearly agreed in the order. Henyard's battle for control of the village key positions has paralyzed many operations. WGN investigates his documented concern about Henyard's spending leadership, both in Dalton and Thornton Township. Federal investigators, blah, blah, blah. This week, Henyard closed and locked Thornton Township building amid an ongoing dispute with trustees who have boycotted meetings to block her ability to appoint new trustees to replace an ally who resigned from the board. Henyard is suing Township Democrats who blocked her from participating in a caucus to select who would appear at the top of the ticket. She also faces a re-election battle for the mayor of Dalton this spring. All right. Max Solomon might be the worst attorney. I don't know. I ain't gonna say he's the worst attorney, but he's definitely, I wouldn't hire him as my attorney. Let me go ahead and check out some of these comments real quick. I'm gonna see what we got here. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I appreciate you. I'm glad you was able to catch it. All right, the big bingo, it's free to join. We all in the bingo cards on the bingo. Let's see. Uh, okay. I'll look into that. I'm not gonna check it out now because normally I could go long as hell, but I can't go super long tonight on this. All money ain't good money. Max needs a job. What are you gonna do? Like I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know. I just I don't know. It's I can't fathom a situation where an attorney who's been licensed since 2012 didn't file an answer to a complaint for his client. Like that shit just don't make any sense to me. Yeah, the attorney and that's the other thing that's weird. The lines of which attorneys represent who and whose interests are just completely crossed here. Cause like the office of the mayor should have a general counsel. That's how it is in most places. The office of the mayor has a general counsel, and that general counsel has associate attorneys who do all this other shit. And anything that comes up related to the operation of the office is general counsel shit. Anything that comes up related to the operation of you is your shit. And you have to actually pay for an attorney to handle that. But the lines are really blurred. I know. I thought about doing like a live meeting, watching the meeting live, but I don't know if I got the bandwidth to do that. Those meetings be crazy, and I always prefer for the meeting to happen. Then I can go back and check it out. Then I can pull out timestamps of crazy shit that we need to talk about. Hey, shout out! Hey, I'm a big ass kid, man. I like wrestling. I like I like kid shit. I like go kart racing. I like all of that stuff. I'm going to the Royal Rumble this year. I'm excited. Sounds like a Robert Kardashian. That's funny. No, the rent money went into his account because he was of the opinion, according to him, which doesn't make any sense because he actually said stuff in the documents we read that contradicted. But he was of the opinion that he had an attorney-client relationship with the tenant. That's why he was confident in pulling out $12,400 out of those funds. And when the board went back and looked at it, they was like, "You didn't have anything to establish an attorney-client relationship, and you actually, excuse me, said on the record that this isn't your client. You acknowledged that that wasn't your client." So his reason was actually bullshit. He what he was doing, he did everything wrong early on, and it was a complete shit show. And then when he got called out on it, now he has about over a decade of life experience. So he tried to give them a justification that didn't make his fuck ups in the past look as bad. But they were on to it. They were like, "Nah, bro, we not falling for your story." Okay. Also, Harris held a large event for the people of Dalton. Trustees were there and ended up sponsoring by Nick Cannon. Oh, really? Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, even if they aren't watching social media, they should be watching. uh, Older folks love watching the news. I don't watch the news. I get most of my news from like I watch clips on YouTube or I'll get alerts on my phone. But older folks at least watch the news. That's correct. That is correct. And the limit was low too. It was something like $10 or $15. It was something very, very low. What's going on? What's going on? Let me see. Uh, oh, he got my yeah, that's my doppelganger. He just beige. She's trying to keep the spotlight off of what she's doing behind the scenes. Allegedly, Henyard spent more money from Thornton Township. She definitely spent more money than Thornton Township because Thornton Township has a way larger budget. That's where the damage is really being done at. Like, I mean, the damage on Dalton is terrible too, but it's a much smaller geographical area, a much smaller budget. Yep. That's exactly what we talked about, James. That actually makes sense. Like, I I don't know. I've never seen. I'm actually confused. Like, I know y'all gonna be like, "You attorney shit? You looked it up?" No, I don't be looking up all this shit. But I'm actually confused as to how, as the supervisor trustee, she would actually have the ability to just unilaterally appoint a trustee to a vacant seat. Like, I don't know. That don't even make any. It doesn't make any sense to me. Normally, how those things happen, there's a vacant seat. Maybe the supervising trustee, or if we're looking at a comparable thing, the mayor can nominate somebody, but that nomination has to get approved via a vote by the board members. So I don't know. It's a weird fucking setup. This is actually a shit show. A good lawyer is a good liar. You know what they tell us? They tell us, when you're in court, when you're in court and when you're in court and everybody, yeah, he is he's working for free. That's crazy. That's rule number one. That even proves to me that he still don't know what he's doing. He's working for free all these years later with the price of inflation. But when you're in court, this is what they tell attorneys. When you're in court and the person goes up and they're about to testify and they put their right hand on the Bible, left hand on the Bible, right hand in the air. I had to think of a Jay-Z song to remember what it was. Left hand on the Bible, right hand on the air. I swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. The first thing they tell attorneys is, "Hey, you that up there? They talking to the person up there. They not talking to you." Most attorneys, I'm not going to say they are. I wouldn't say they're good liars. I would say that they're good at finding facts that they could bend in their favor. Are they good liars? Nah. I'm eh, I don't know. I can't relate. I don't know a bunch of shady attorneys. So I can't relate. I can't relate. I don't know a bunch of shady attorneys. The practitioners I know, they like value their law license. Cause if let me do some Max Solomon shit and mess with a client's money, they're gonna take my license for indefinitely. I'm not gonna have a license to practice. She's broken every single law. Yet she still isn't being held accountable. The only person who's gonna hold her accountable is that's the other thing that's crazy too. What you doing, dog? You all right? The other thing that's crazy too is like it's crazy that nobody at the state level seems to really like give a shit. Like no AG, no inspector general, nobody is actually looking. She had money to pay for an attorney. She would still have Delgado firm. She got what she could afford. That is true. Hey, that's a fit. I'm about to choke up. That's a good point. I like that comment. And remember, you get what you pay for. That's why I tell people, yo, don't do nothing for free. This sounds crazy. If you have a business, don't do anything for free. Even if you think you hooking something up, because people think the value of a service is what they pay for it. So you could be a nice ass attorney, but if you say, "Oh, I'm gonna do this one on the house," then your client ain't gonna think you shit. He gonna be like, "Man, this attorney ain't shit." That's why his broke ass doing this for free. so, so if you got a business, always be business minded. Yo, that's actually a good point, George. I said the same thing. I said the same thing. We talked about that in several videos. It's a political aardvark. I wouldn't actually be surprised. I mean, that's what I would do if I was a politician. I knew I was going to lose my seat. I would, if it was a sister running against me, I would get one of my friends who's an upstanding citizen in the community, and I'd be like, "Hey, do me a favor, run in this election. I know you don't really want it, but I need you to siphon off some votes from that person over there." So I do agree with that. You got to remember, as crazy as Henyard is with all of this shit, if you look at the total number of people who voted in these elections, it's low. It's low. So hey, I told we've said it all along. She's targeting the seniors. That's why Big Bingo must go on. No matter what happens, Big Bingo is going to go on because she's relying on those seniors are going to get out there and vote and write her name in on the write-in ballot because that's all she got. I don't know. I don't know if the senior vote will have as much impact in the supervisor election versus the mayoral election, just because it's a much larger geographical area. And I don't give a damn what she giving out for Big Bingo. She's not going to be able to hit that many seniors up throughout the entire Thornton Township. It's just too big of a geographical area. And if she's a write-in candidate, those people got to make sure they spell her name right. They spell it legibly. Like it's just yeah. It's too much of a hassle. See, hey, political aardvark is the first word in the dictionary. The first word, if you open up your dictionary, it's the first word in the dictionary. I never knew what the hell it was. It was a law professor, not a law professor. He was actually. Let me see. Yeah, aardvarking is recruiting candidates for public office with the main objectives begin with the letter A. Why do you want their names to be placed begin with the letter A? Because normally they place the names on the ballot in alphabetical order. The practice of aardvarking is rooted. Oh, the practice of aardvarking is rooted in the idea that people have a natural tendency to favor options that appear first on the list, known as the uh, primacy effect in psychology. This cognitive bias leads individuals to give more weight to the first item they encounter, whether in reading material, lists, or choices. Political aardvarking capitalizes on this psychological phenomenon by placing candidates with A starting names at the top of the list, increasing the likelihood that they will be noticed, remembered, or ultimately chosen by the voters or decision maker. So hey, yeah, that's the thing. It's so all this shit is so strategic. It's great. Politics suck. Yeah, politics suck. I know we got a lot of flack. When did y'all let me know since we got a lot of people in here? Dalton drama. I'm here for it. Y'all let me know what's going on, Marlo. Y'all let me know where the hell did all those sisters come from on her Village of Dalton flyer with her new campaign? I have no clue like who they are outside of what they listed on their bio. Hey, that's not uncommon. Hey, it's not uncommon. You may need a lawyer. He still wouldn't get a lawyer. He didn't even get an attorney to represent him when his license was on the line. That's crazy. Interesting. I didn't know that. Shout out. I appreciate that. Okay, so the clerk serves as essentially the vice president in the Senate. The Republic of Tiffany Henyard. That's hilarious. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Yo, we about to get out of here. I want to talk about one thing real quick, non-Henyard related. I saw this in the news. Let me pull this up. I saw a celebrity in the news who went broke, and I'm shocked. I'm actually not shocked when most celebrities go broke, but this one I didn't see coming. If somebody would have said like, "Hey man, Floyd Mayweather went broke," I'd have been like, But let me see. Did y'all see this? Let me see. Let me see. I saw this and I was like, damn. I don't even let me type up one more thing because I want to see how much money. I want to see how much they made per movie. That's crazy. All right, so it said this guy was getting about from the early '90s, from the late '90s to the early 2000s. They received $20 million per movie, and now they're broke. Y'all know who it is? Y'all gonna be shocked when y'all see who this is. I was like, damn, this dude went broke. He came out of retirement because he was asked out and they had no cash. Why is it just showing nobody want no damn credit cards? Y'all see that? Jim Carrey said he came out of retirement because he needs money. He's the latest A-lister to open up about taking roles to boost their finances. And I looked it up. This dude made $20 million per movie. I agree. Hey, he, he could be coming up with a scam crypto coin or something. That's crazy. $20 million per movie going broke. I don't know. That's crazy. I saw that and I was utterly shocked that Jim Carrey money is funny. I mean, hey, Ace Ventura, Michael Vick. It happens sometimes. It happens sometimes. I was just thinking Jim Carrey. Yeah, Jim Carrey old as hell. He up there. But I thought that was crazy. I thought that was crazy that Jim Carrey money is low. He has one of my favorite movies, Living in the Moment. Ah, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like normally, like the people who go broke, you normally see them go broke. And maybe this is just me. Maybe because I only pay attention to the. I don't know. I don't be. Maybe I only pay attention more to the black celebrities. But Jim Curry would have probably been the last person that I would have guessed who money was crazy. But then actors, that acting is a tough job because you only make money when you work, and when you don't work, you ain't got shit coming in. That's crazy. But yo, that's it for this video. I'm about to hop off this live. I'm under the weather. I sound all nasally and everything. We might do something tomorrow. I'm not sure yet. It's just a matter of how I'm feeling and if I decide I want to make my way out of the house and go see Lion King. I want to go see Lion King. I want to see it bad. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, who? Damn, he doing straight to DVD movies? That's crazy. All right, I'm out of here, y'all. Y'all have a good one. Be safe. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your holiday. And hey, if you a federal government employee and you about to get furloughed, I know a lot of people may not have funds stashed away, but I was just thinking this. I was telling somebody this earlier. Call your creditors. A lot of your creditors, financial institutions, if there's a furlough going on and you're a government employee, they'll actually allow you to miss payments without giving you any penalties on anything. Or they'll give you, like, I know USAA for veterans will give you like an interest-free loan to float you for whatever time. But if something happens on the furlough side of the game and you impact it, don't just not do anything. Call somebody, because most times they'll work something out for y'all. Yo, y'all take care. Y'all have a good one. Be safe. Be blessed. Peace. Ah.